Hi everyone, Wolf Branch Homestead, and we're taking the goats out on their walk this morning. It is Sunday, but this video will probably come out afterwards. This is Kuwabara, Botan, and little Yusuke. It's cooler today. I think we're in somewhere around 40 degrees. Looking at some of these quartz stones down here, looking for any points. We're around 40 degrees right now. It was nearly up to 70 a few days ago. We went through having some cold temperatures to having, looking at all the little wrens flying around. There's a bunch of Carolina wren out here. We had a cold snap and we had 16 degrees Fahrenheit as a high. And we got up to having a bunch of rain and humidity. One day humidity was like somewhere between 93 to 98%. Phew. And we got up to almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Every time I walked the goats, it was somewhere around the 60s. Here we are back at 40. Going to get into the upper 30s overnight. And it's been very cloud cover today. I don't think we're expecting any rain, but it's very, very dark gray. You can see a little bit of the sky, but for the most part, a lot of cloud cover and a lot of wind. I would go down there by the branch, but with all these trees down there, I trust some of these hardwoods more than I do the pine. The pine's pretty prone to snapping off, and a lot of that red maple is too. Those are the ones that usually like to go down during storms. But the main thing about it is we had so much rain, and now we're having a bunch of wind that my main concern would be uprooting. So I'm going to try to stick with them on the main part of the trail today. Yeah. We'll take them down in the low spot, the little runoff area that goes to the branch off of the trail, and see what they think. But for the most part, I just see a lot of tree movement, so I'm trying to keep my eyes up here and watch this. I would say maybe based on how it is, maybe 10-12 mile per hour winds today. Not sure. But I'm sure if we do a live bird stream, we'll look that up and see. So apologies, you're probably hearing lots of wind noise. Somewhere over here, there's another piece of that red maple that went down. Somewhere over here, we've got a little wren hiding out. Oh, there you went. I heard you, I didn't see you. There you are. Hopping right there in that little, let's see, it's right in here somewhere. You're peeking out. Where'd you go? There it is. It's over here now by this stump. Yep, took off to the other side. I always enjoy birding out here on the trail, in particular in the springtime when the wild honeysuckle is growing. And you can see lots of butterflies out here, and definitely hummingbirds. They will get out here and guard that wild honeysuckle as if they were guarding a feeder. It's a very important source for them to get nectar, so they will watch over it very intensely. I'm gonna whistle and call the goats over here. Hey, goat. This way. Let's go this way. Usually Botan will be first when I whistle. Really? Come on, guys, let's go. Bah. No, I think they don't want to walk down the trail today. I think they're going to stick to the same spot. Usually if I do the bye sound, Yusuke will come after me. The whistle usually gets Botan, and clapping usually gets Kuwabara. They have different ways of what they'll pay attention to. So the only kind of training we've done on essentially recall with them, we haven't really reiterated much of that lately, where you call them, they approach you, and then they get a snack. We use the positive reinforcement training with them, where we used clicker training as an off branch of that. We've got a nice little deer trail right here, where basically we use, you are all in some briars, people. You've got me going through the loop here. We use clicker training to teach them useful skills, and we say skills instead of tricks because a lot of the time when you hear the word trick, people kind of think of negative training methods. So we teach them different skills with clicker training. They all know back and spin, and Yusuke knows up, where he'll rear up, which he kind of almost taught himself that as a baby. Excuse me. Oh, thanks. So he came to us about middle age. He just got weaned off. Very well socialized. He was easy to clicker train. Very well motivated. We've got a little baby red cedar here. Mom came to us almost as an adult. I don't know what her backstory was, but she was definitely very distrusting. It was very hard to get, we got a little rabbit trail right here. Very hard to get her trust to do anything with her, but she did get clicker trained. She was one of the first ones as far as goats that I've ever worked with. And Yusuke got trained with his bottle. So he learned, he was a couple weeks old when I felt comfortable trying to go ahead and teach him. And he was clicker trained when he was on his bottle. I didn't feel comfortable kind of holding the bottle for ransom, so to speak. You guys, I've got to go through all this briars here. So I didn't want him to feel like he had to do something in order to get his bottle. So he got 3/4 or more of his bottle before we did anything with him, using the last of it to work with him. And he didn't have to do anything every single time he got his bottle, if that makes sense. But he was very eager to learn. So it was really fun teaching him. It was the first time really teaching anything bottle baby. All this little bit of green stuff, and you're eating dried leaves. So he learned with his bottle. Everything else has been basically kind of feed related, where they all learn with their grain treat. And the chickens and the ducks all learned with their starter feed. And all of that stemmed from, as a kid growing up, you know, all I really knew about was training dogs. I knew that dogs could learn to do, you know, some of the cool things like sit or high five, give me paw, things like that. And I knew about really interesting, professionally trained, like defense dogs, things like that. I never thought about anything else really being trained. And for the most part, you know, other animals, like the only other thing I really knew about was horse training. where as a kid they were seeing more of a interest in non-violent training. For instance, like Monty Roberts. I didn't think about anything else being trained really until I got to be a teenager, and I had my first little rescue kitty cat. And she was so treat motivated that I found it pretty easy to get her to learn how to sit and high five, because she was following the movement of the treat. So I would hold the treat, kind of move it back on her line of sight up to her head, and she would look up, and at the same time she would sit down. Or she would try to reach out and bat the treat, and she'd get my hand. And so we kind of evolved with that, and she learned to do a lot of cool things. I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that I was using treats to teach her how to do things. And then eventually I worked with someone who was studying to be a dog trainer, and they were learning about clicker training. And so we got to learn more about that, which was really interesting. And I really studied up more on it and wanted to learn, and ended up kind of adapting that for shelter cats, teaching them lots of cool things. Again, mostly sit, high five. Those are the easiest things that I've found to teach them. And it helped with potential adopters. It helped kind of open conversation about the intelligence of cats, because there was always kind of that negative thing about, oh, cats are lazy, cats don't want any attention, they want nothing to do with you, pretty much the easiest pet to have type thing. So it was interesting to open a different line of communication about cat behavior. This isn't the one, this isn't the tree that had the hawk nest in it, but this still is a very large oak tree. I can't quite show you how large it is, but there he is standing next to it. He stood up earlier on his back legs to reach something, and he's nearly 6 foot tall, standing up on his hind legs. Down there looks like some trash. That looks like old chicken feeders. A lot of people around here have had cattle and windy, and had chicken houses over the years. That's what that looks like, is some old chicken feeders. Yusuke, where you at, buddy? There you are. Come on. But after learning to do more with training cats, he bristled up a little bit. He didn't like that. Yeah. Old pieces. I'll have to come out here and get some of that trash up too. And also come out here and look for some bottles. This is where I found some glass bottles before. But you know, I've looked at training with cats, and when I was looking into clicker training, I found back then the website and blog post videos for Dr. Sophia Yin. She's since passed away, but she was an animal behaviorist and veterinarian, and did a lot to really try to promote nonviolence, especially easier handling for veterinarians and their staff, which I really commend, because that's helping to make veterinary experiences for the animals a lot more comfortable. And she had a lot of resources on there about positive reinforcement training, and one of the things I stumbled across back then was training chickens, and I thought that was so odd that I'd never really thought about anything being done with them. And so later on, when we had our little hen that we have now, she's about to be 7 or 8 years old, around Easter time, she hatched out here, and her mom was unfortunately not so nice to everybody, and she was the last one left of her group, to say it politely. She had to be hand raised, And I wanted to find more ways to work with her, help socialize her. So I remembered that I had seen about clicker training, and we did some studying up on that, and actually had really good results with working with her. And that was my first time ever training a chicken, and I trained her when she was very young. Then went on to train adult chickens. Oh, I don't know if that's an active den. I don't recall having seen that. No, there's a lot of leaf litter in the front. I don't think anybody's using that. But went on to train adult chickens. We had some older rescue girls and did some work with them. Went on to start training ducklings, and even went on to train an older male duck. And then moved on to goats. I don't know that we'll ever get cattle, but that would be one of the things I really wanted to. Ooh. Did we just find a glass bottle? This one looks intact. Did you all just see a glass bottle find? Oh, we've got a lid. Or not a lid, excuse me. We've got the neck of it intact. That's usually what I see broken off. This looks like a soda bottle. Let's see the bottom. Clean it off a little bit. We see up at the top left, the I inside the O is the Owens, Illinois glass manufacturer. I see 4110 AT 1877. I'm going to guess that 77 is probably our date code of what year it was made. The other parts will probably be mold number, plant number, to know where it was manufactured and what mold it used. So this is cool. I've been back here searching for bottles in this area, and I've missed this one. We've got a new glass bottle for the collection. Stay tuned, might have to make a little video identifying this one. But hopefully, one day in talking about what I was there, I get so distracted. I have a terrible problem with that. But hopefully, I've thought about it. Maybe one day we'll get some cattle. I always wanted to try working with oxen. A lot of people say that it would not work to try to teach working oxen with clicker training. But I'm not sure. I don't really know, and I haven't seen anybody talk about having trained them that way. I've just heard kind of the negative side of it from a lot of the old-fashioned style. Shouldn't say old-fashioned, but rather people that train with original methods that have been passed down over the years. There is that doll head. Oh my gosh, another glass bottle that I haven't picked up before, or I might have. That might be the one with the broken side. There is that creepy doll head. And it has rolled down the hill. It was up here somewhere. We've got, let's see. Is this the one with the broken side? This shape is a ketchup bottle, I can tell you. Oh, you're not broken, so you're a new one too. These ridges down the side tell me that's a ketchup bottle. We've got a lid, but can't see anything on it. Look at the bottom, try to clean that off a little bit. That's a A inside of the H, so it looks like older Anchor Hocking. But we also have, that would be the glass. Then we've got an I inside of O for Owens, Illinois. We've got 7454 on the top, 124 on the bottom. So do some research on that one. This is cool. I've missed these, and I saw another one up here by this larger broken jar. There's a broken lid right there. I came down here There's another broken thing. What is that? That almost looks like a... Oh, that's a broken top. Gotta be careful there. I'm not sure what that is. I thought it might have been a piece of an old headlight. I'm finding stuff I missed completely before. We'll go up here and look at this one other thing that I saw. Goats are just having a great time. Doll head. Ooh. It's not Halloween anymore, but that's creepy. We've got this broken piece right here, but that's the other one I was wondering. I saw from a distance and wondered if it was intact. That one is, and it has liquid inside. The lid's rusted, that's why, but the rest of it's intact. You're harder to see. I can't quite get the markings on that one. That looks like a W inside of a circle. I see, looks like a 3 at the top. I can't tell what the rest of that is. We'll take these back and clean them up. Leave them right here. And it's sprinkling. That's cool. Here I was, not sure if it was going to rain, and now it's sprinkling on us. So, carefully set you where I can clean up down here. You know, we've thought about wanting to train cattle. I don't know that we'll ever get any, but I think it would be cool to quicker train with cattle, because you're also, when you're doing stuff like this, and they talk about kind of like with shelter animals, you want to encourage stimulation of getting them to work their brains, have fun, not just be cooped up all the time and not really be able to be active. So you try to find projects that will work their brains a little bit. There is a tire down there. So we're kind of using this to also work their brains and encourage them to have a little bit of fun learning these things, because then they're like, oh, I can do that, and I can get a reward and get a snack that I really enjoy by doing this little activity. So they're benefiting by learning too. We've got a nice little trail right here. It doesn't look like a deer trail. Might be small game. We're at a bend in the branch right here. This is a part we haven't shown you before because we walked over on the ridge here. So it's fun for them. Oh, please be careful, guys. I know you have good footing, but please don't be goofy. And kind of summarizing it all back, we haven't done much practice with recall with them, where we, get them to come back to us for a snack. Are you intact? Oh, you're the one with the broken neck. You can see what company that is clearly. That is an old Clorox glass bleach bottle. That's why that one was left. That's one I've seen before. I would like to find a way to take some of that broken glass, melt that, and like cast it into a resin tabletop or something and make some kind of cool craft out of it. But we haven't done much with resin work. So I need to get back with them on doing some clicker work as far as learning other stuff. And one of the biggest things for me is down the road whenever we're ready. Our one puppy dog, he's going to be 10 this year. But whenever we do get ready to welcome another dog to the homestead, it will be the first time that I've actually really done clicker training with the dog, because when he was a little puppy, he learned with positive reinforcement, he learned with treats, but I didn't actually do clicker training. It was just positive reinforcement with him receiving a good snack. And he still has retained all of that he learned as a puppy to this point today, where he still does the same things. So he learned very early on. He learned how to sit and shake. He learned down, where he lays down. He knows up, where he'll sit on his hind legs and put both front feet in the air, and he'll put both of his feet in your hands. And he's retained a lot of that. He also learned about basically out or drop it, where he will, for the most part, sometimes he gets a little bit possessive about certain toys, but for the most part he will usually drop whatever it is he's got. I have lost where I set the bottles down at. For the most part, he will usually drop whatever it is. Our cattle dog was very good with that. She was extremely intelligent, extremely loyal, and very well-mannered, where you could ask her to do something like that, bam, like she was perfect about it. There they are. This is the one that was a shame last time I came through that it was broken. It looked very cool, but it was an old pesticide bottle, surprisingly. It contained an insecticide in there. You again. But here are 3 bottles we found walking the goats. These are all new to me. I haven't picked these up before or even noticed them. We've got one up the hill further that I think is another broken one. Yeah, it looks like the ridge of this one's broken. But you can see, unfortunately, that years back, people were very prone to just throwing their trash out, just out the back of the home. And a lot of stuff washes up in the branch too from further up. There's one more. I don't know that I've seen you before. Looks like a glass bottle. Well, what do you know? Are you intact? Oh, you're not. That's a Coca-Cola bottle. What year are you from? Now there's you something cool. Trying to get the bottom cleaned off so you can see it. Let's zoom in. That says Anniston, Alabama. This bottle was manufactured. I don't see a date. I see what looks like an S or an 8 on the bottom. But that bottle was manufactured in Alabama. Specifically Anniston, which is up near Gadsden, if you're a little bit familiar, north of Talladega. Got one more little thing down here. I can't remember if I did walk over that way. So we'll make our way back up with them. Try to mark out in my head where some of these pieces are so I can take them back. And then we'll take these and research them. That lid was so rusted it just fell down in there. Those are very cool. We can guess based on shape and design what two of them are. The other one I'm not as familiar with, but I can guess that this one's ketchup, that one's soda. The brown one I'm not quite sure of. It looks a bit big to be anything like an aspirin jar. That is, we've got somebody's potty there, and I'm going to guess coyote, which is a little bit unsettling. We're right down behind the goat pen, but they do get put up in their barn at night, closed up, where nothing can get in there with them. Trying to watch my footing because we're up on a hill. You can't quite tell it, but there's that nice little cane brake area. It's not too thick, but it's a healthy little stand. And in that cane brake, eastern bluebird like to hang out. That's the place we've talked about before. Over there is the red maple stump that split off during a storm. But all that cane, the bluebirds like to be in there when they come back through. We haven't seen any yet. We've seen a few on some of the live stream channels we like to watch. Over there at JBCB's Bird Sanctuary and over at Just Bill's, they've been having lots of pretty bluebirds. I think it's very interesting. The goats are slowly making their way. Come on, Pops. I think it's interesting, and I think it's very nice that a lot of the live stream channels, we don't do it too often, but you know, some of those channels that we talk about and share links for, there's so many of them that they just build each other up. They share each other's channels and they go visit each other on their live streams. I think that's very nice that there's, for the most part, a very good community around the live stream channels. And a lot of us will share those channels with others, and then the people we share with will come join in and view the others. I think it's nice to be able to help one another grow. So definitely stay tuned. At some point I'd like to have a nice little community post sharing some of those channels we go visit to help them out. Oh, that's a shame. So that is a turtle shell. Not terribly old, because these parts on the back, these little individual, I'm not sure if they're scales or plates. I'm not sure what the term for it would be, but these individual pieces, like a puzzle, will fall off and it will just be a white shell, and these individual little flakes will come off over time. The shell's upside down. The bottom plate there is gone, so I'm gonna probably assume that somebody had a feast on the little turtle, but it's very interesting to see the shell. We have a lot of, I think it is eastern box turtle. We have one that we show quite a bit, that the male and the female are distinguishable based on the eye color. think that's who it is. It's the box turtle. Gonna have to set my jars down over here so I don't drop them. So we went up to a different area today. We've shown you another spot of walking along that we haven't before. I'm going to set these over here because if I set them on the other stump, then you will jump on it and knock them off. You will. I know you. I know your character. See? Because look, you're already trying to figure out what they are. What? Don't bite my hair. I'm trying to get them kind of propped up next to each other there where we could see them better. What you doing, Yusuke? That one just wants to fall over. There's our 3 bottles. You're gonna knock them off, aren't you? See? You're like a cat. You're not a goat, you're like a little cat. Oh, now you can see them. Little fluffy man, you are starting to get a little bit of Mom's coat. You can see he is a little bit scruffed up, but Mom, in particular, she has curls in her fur. Dad stays a little bit thin. But she's got, I can't see them. I can't see the curls. Usually right up there by her neck, she gets really curly hair, which makes me think, predominantly, I think boar mix. Again, we really don't know much about where she came from. But her curly hair makes me think of a different breed in there. I'm not sure of which breeds would have that. There's an example I picked up yesterday in talking about how trash comes down through the branch. Some plastic that I have to come back with a bag and try to collect some stuff. But I need to find a durable little, like a reusable bag so everything doesn't puncture through there. This red maple went across during a storm with high wind. I've walked down here because it has simmered down a bit where it's not as terribly windy. But I really expect this. I think it's a white oak. I really, after going across one day and looking at this one, the way it's sitting, I think this one at some point, I don't think it's going to split off. I think it's going to actually just straight up uproot. Because these side walls of the branch here wash out so bad when we get a lot of storms. I think that we'll see more washout, and if we get a lot of rain and wind, I think this one will probably uproot. If this ever did, because of what it is and because of also how we do have a split right here, but these two pieces are pretty straight and they're also pretty wide around, I do think if we can get it out of here, that this could be cut up and possibly turned into lumber, depending on what the inside look like. But if not, if it can't come out of here with the equipment we have, then it would be cutting it up into smaller segments and trying to get it for firewood. Now you're gonna go over there. I swear. Ladies and gentlemen, extra large cats over here. Alright, Yusuke, let's go, guys. We're getting a little bit more wind now. Going up the familiar path. We're starting to get sprinkled on and windy. Definitely let us know if you look at some of those bottles we picked up, what you might think they are. In case you've missed it, if you're newer to the channel, we have some videos about searching for glass bottles out here and taking you through the process of step-by-step identification, how we evaluate each bottle and try to see what it might have contained when it was manufactured, where it was manufactured. We got a lot of clues and key information based on, oh, you're bristling up. You want to play. You want to play. You want to play. We get a lot of information about our bottles. Also, why are you trying to eat rocks? What are you doing? You have never done that. Come on. Come on. Why are you... Okay. Yes, I know. Here. Here. I knew you were bristled up. You wanted to play. Stop picking up rocks. What are you doing? Yes. Wow. What are you doing? We get information about our bottles we pick up. Not only from all the information on the bottom, the codes, the numbers, the symbols, but color, shape, size. Our manufacturer's marks can also help us pinpoint time frames. What? Because the manufacturer marks can change. This is not... No. What are you talking about? The marks can change over the years. The manufacturers can use different symbols and styles, but we can get clues also on who the manufacturer is by those symbols, those letters that are on each bottle. If you're interested in learning more about identifying bottles, we'll put a link to a very helpful website for glass bottle marks. And we'll put that in the description where you can find it and access it. Yum, 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 yum. You have to have the last word, don't you, Guy? Boop, boop, boop. And you can use that website to look up the maker's marks of your bottle. Most of the ones we find do not have an identifying lettering on them to tell you, like the Clorox or the Coca-Cola. Most of them don't have that on there to identify what's inside. Looking at Botan, she's alert for some reason. He's bristled up because she's alert. I don't know what they're hearing. But we can learn more about our bottles by checking out websites like that, checking out a lot of helpful videos, books. We can learn more about identifying those bottles. But the goats are ready to go. They are ready for breakfast. Everybody's going and putting themselves back up. We thank you for walking along with us as we took about 3/4 of an hour walking around. And they've wanted to go back up here now. So thanks for following us on another windy day. Next time we'll alternate out and make sure to do another quiet walk around where you can just hear the sounds of nature and the animals. We hope you have a wonderful day, And we thank you so much for watching, and take care until next time.